Post-ride impressions of the Aprilia SR GT 200. Looks like an adventure bike, but inside it's a high-spec city scooter. Model overview and introduction. The one I rode was the replica version. I've already summarized the specs in a video, so check it out here. The official site describes the SR GT 200 like this. Here's an excerpt. The SR GT delivers unbeatable performance for urban commuting while handling suburban adventures with ease. Its long-stroke suspension and active ride quality enhance control on any road surface. After riding it, I compiled my thoughts into an article. I was impressed by how well thought out the chassis is. This description really hits the nail on the head. Urban commuting, suburban little adventures. Control high especially thought the adjective little hit the nail on the head, though I didn't realize it at first. My perception of what kind of bike this is changed between when I first rode it and a few hours later. It felt too disjointed for the video, so I'll compile it into an article first before making the video. First impressions: excellent visibility, handlebar turning angle. These were my immediate sensations upon starting the ride. At eye level, with Yamato Transport's small delivery vans, my 182cm height and roughly 3-digit seat height long torso placed me at a vantage point where the roofs of light truck, K cars, and most standard cars appeared below me. It's easy to be noticed and to see your surroundings, making it comfortable to ride. This perspective is purely from a tall rider's standpoint, though reaching the ground was quite challenging. I'll cover that later. Then the handlebar turning angle. Visually, it's unmistakably an adventure bike. In Japan, it's probably the only scooter marketed as an adventure bike, but overseas models like Sim and Aprilia also had them. The handlebars turn more than you'd expect from the looks. They turn just like a regular scooter. Not only the angle, but the handlebar itself is light. This is unique to scooters. But I was curious how this lightness would affect highway riding. So I rode it from city streets to mountain roads, through Hyogo Prefecture's Rokko Mountains and onto the highway with a 100 km/h speed limit. Power, performance and acceleration and top speed, measurement, engine sound. The engine sound is surprisingly quiet. Is this really not a domestic model? It might be as quiet as or even quieter than Yamaha's Buko, Honda's ESP Plus or Suzuki's SEP engines, especially considering its displacement, particularly when warming up itself is light. This is unique to scooters. But I was curious how this lightness would affect highway riding. So I rode it from city streets to mountain roads, through Hyogo Prefecture's Rokko Mountains and onto the highway with a 100 km/h speed limit. Power, performance and acceleration and top speed, measurement, engine sound. The engine sound is surprisingly quiet. Is this really not a domestic model? It might be as quiet as or even quieter than Yamaha's Buko, Honda's ESP Plus or Suzuki's SEP engines, especially considering its displacement, particularly when warming up below 2000 RPM, it becomes difficult to hear over the helmet. That's how quiet it is. In a way, I was deceived. I expected a roar, but it's nothing like that at all. Acceleration test under heavy load, 100 to 700 meters top speed. Regarding acceleration, it's as shown in the video I posted. The top speed on the speedometer exceeded 120 km/h. It feels like it could go faster though. Strictly speaking, I don't feel like pushing it. No, it's scary, that's my impression. The top speed was affected by GPS error on the Aprilia chassis, so it wasn't actually hitting 120 km/h. Actual launch acceleration comparison. This feels like a foreign vehicle right from the first twist of the throttle. It engaged the clutch half a beat, maybe a full beat, later than expected. It feels slow, but it doesn't seem to be optimized for acceleration like the CVTs found on Sim or KYMCO Taiwan scooters. Therefore, after the clutch engages, twisting the throttle a bit doesn't immediately jump to 5000 to 6000 RPM. Instead, the RPM climbs gradually from the first twist of the throttle. It engaged the clutch half a beat, maybe a full beat, later than expected. It feels slow, but it doesn't seem to be optimized for acceleration like the CVTs found on Sim or KYMCO Taiwan scooters. Therefore, after the clutch engages, twisting the throttle a bit doesn't immediately jump to 5000 to 6000 RPM. Instead, the RPM climbs gradually. Consequently, purely based on feel, The NMAX 150 delivers a much stronger acceleration sensation. The closest acceleration feel would probably be the PCX 160. From its quiet warm-up sound, as you increase the RPM, there is no torque wave. It's closer to flat acceleration. This was the same when merging onto the highway. I felt a bit let down here too. Well, I was the one who got carried away looking at the specs and building up my expectations, but I didn't expect it to be this docile. It looks like a replica model and seems rowdy, but inside it's quiet. Like people, this gap might be part of its charm. GPS error. The crucial error was significant. I compared it to Google Maps GPS speed across all ranges, and the discrepancy was about 6 kilometers per hour. So when I thought I was hitting 120 kilometers per hour, I was actually only doing a little over 110 kilometers per hour. Highway riding. The highway ride ended up being quite long. And again, I was let down. In the video sequence it comes early on, but I actually got on the highway after riding this bike for about 5 hours. Essentially, I rode it in the city, then in the mountains, and finally on the highway. So the highway test came last. Merging first and merging. It smooths up to about 90 kilometers per hour, but and this might sound harsh, a DOHC equipped to 125cc bike accelerates much better, like the GSX-R 125. As mentioned, the acceleration feel here is similar to the PCX, so merging feels the same too. Cruising behind cars. Similar to the PCX, so merging feels the same too. Cruising behind cars. The most comfortable cruising speed is around 80 to 95 kilometers per hour. This is because the frame used at the double cradle high tensile steel pipe frame shakes more than expected. In the full review, I rode the Gixxer 250, which has a diamond frame, so vibration really comes through to the foot pegs. Scooters generally transmit less vibration, but at 100 kilometers per hour cruising, vibration increases in the order of handlebar, then footrest. Comfortable riding without excessive vibrations on par with the PCX/Max. Essentially, it's identical to the domestic 160cc's lightweight motorcycle category. While the model name is SRGT 200, it doesn't offer the same level of comfort as the Bergman 200. Overtaking is less comfortable than the NMAX, but slightly better than the PCX. With the PCX, when you open the throttle fully to merge into the right lane from 90 to 100 kilometers per hour, the speedometer only shows increases of about 1 km per hour at a time. However, the Aprilia kept climbing in increments of 2 to 3 km per hour, but in terms of feel, it was very similar to the PCX. If asked whether it's good or bad at merging, it might be more on the bad side. Is this really the SRGT 200 that handles little trips in the suburbs, as the official site claims? Summary first, the windscreen differs from the Bergman 200, Forza 250, and X-Max 250. Rather than blocking wind for comfortable long-distance touring, it seems aimed at aerodynamic effects. Or perhaps it's purely for design. Everything up your belly button gets hit by the wind. Now regarding frame rigidity and front rear suspension, this is why I'd rather not push it past 100 kilometers per hour. The rear end feels very stable and offers good straight line stability, but the front end wobbles immediately in strong crosswinds. This is a telescopic fork, but rather than blocking wind for comfortable long-distance touring, it seems aimed at aerodynamic effects. Or perhaps it's purely for design. Everything up your belly button gets hit by the wind. Now regarding frame rigidity and front rear suspension, this is why I'd rather not push it past 100 kilometers per hour. The rear end feels very stable and offers good straight line stability, but the front end wobbles immediately in strong crosswinds. This is a telescopic fork, but it doesn't extend all the way to the top bridge. It's built like a typical scooter, and I felt it lacks the rigidity needed to really push it hard over 100 kilometers per hour. Also, the front to rear weight distribution feels slightly rear biased, maybe like 3 front to 7 rear. So if you go too fast, the front tire feels like it might lift. At first glance, this might make you think, so it's just an SRGT 200? That's pretty weak. But it's brilliantly positioned as a distinct alternative to adventure bikes. Fuel efficiency test and odometer, error, gasoline. We use premium gasoline. On the day of refueling, premium was 174 yen per liter. Regular gasoline was around 160 yen, so premium is definitely pricier. Total fuel efficiency on highway to city riding. Actually riding it, I got 48 kilometers per liter. I was surprised, but the manufacturer's catalog lists 38 kilometers per liter. That's way too high. Searching online, I found reports of only getting 20-something kilometers per liter, so there's quite a bit of variation. When the fuel efficiency changes by nearly double, it's not really a reliable reference. Tank capacity and calculated range: if only 30 kilometers per liter, 270 kilometers. If 50 kilometers per liter, 450 kilometers. This wide range is unreliable. Furthermore, my own testing shows the worst case fuel efficiency is twice as low, meaning the cost of premium gasoline doubles. Maintaining an Aprilia bike seems to demand significant financial resources. This made me realize Japanese bikes are remarkably accurate. I've never seen such variation before, especially with Yamaha scooters, which fluctuated quite a bit. I complained about it, but seeing a 1.5 to 2 times difference from online info and catalogs was a first. Japanese bikes really are impressive,